Just 9 months ago, the Los Angeles Rams won the Super Bowl over the Cincinnati Bengals. This team is currently 3-8 and last place in the NFC West, as well as the third worst record in the NFL overall. The Rams are not just a bad team, they're a historically bad team, considering they were the best team in the entire league just a couple months ago. The Rams have since fallen into the Super Bowl hangover category, but in a way, the Super Bowl hangover isn't actually a real thing. Just 7 teams have ever had a losing record following a Super Bowl victory, with 2 of those coming in strike years. So to say that the Los Angeles Rams have exceeded expectations is a massive understatement. Most of the time, if an NFL team goes from a Super Bowl to the third worst team in the league, something major happens in the offseason, whether that's a head coach or a GM or a quarterback leaving. But in the Los Angeles Rams case, they've returned many of the main core players that got them to the Super Bowl in the first place. So what went wrong with the Rams, and how did this team go from Super Bowl champions to one of the worst teams in the entire league in just a couple of months? Before talking about the Rams this season, it's important to understand how they got in this position in the first place. In 2016, the Rams picked at number 15 overall, and in a stunning trade moved up to the number 1 overall pick, giving up 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and 2 third-round picks. After a disaster rookie season by the number 1 overall pick, Jared Goff, the Rams had fired their head coach and they hired the young offensive mind, Sean McVay. GM Les Snead and Sean McVay have seen massive success since 2017 and clearly share the same all-in mentality. Since hiring McVay, this team has traded a second-round pick for Sammy Watkins, a second and a fourth-round pick for Marcus Peters, a fifth-round pick for Aqib Talib, a first-round pick for Brandon Cooks, a third-round pick for Dante Fowler Jr., a first and a fourth-round pick for Jalen Ramsey, and they traded 2 first-round picks, 1 third-round pick, and their starting quarterback, Jared Goff, for their new quarterback, Matt Stafford. Those are just some of the major trades that this team has made to go all in on their roster in an attempt to win a championship. And they were successful, making the Super Bowl back in 2019 and winning it all in 2022. I want to make it clear, I'm not criticizing the moves that the Rams made. Almost every major trade was a successful one and key to winning a Super Bowl. But there's always going to be a downside when trading major draft capital for star players. Not only does trading for these players make managing cap extremely difficult, but it leaves little room for injuries, and that's one of the biggest issues with the Rams this season. Their offensive line is currently the worst in the NFL, which began with Andrew Whitworth retiring in the offseason and Austin Corbett leaving in free agency. They also have 6 O-linemen on IR, including multiple would-be starters. Other injuries include wide receiver Cooper Kupp in Week 10, who will miss the rest of the season, and Matt Stafford, who sustained 2 concussions in consecutive games. But Stafford's health has been in headlines the entire offseason, with his right elbow requiring a procedure in the offseason. Even when Stafford was healthy, though, he was not the same quarterback. He went from throwing 4,800 yards and 41 touchdowns in 2021 to looking like a low-end starter in 2022. The defense for the Rams also took a major hit when Von Miller left in free agency, and their pass rush clearly isn't the same. They also lost Odell Beckham Jr., and they tried replacing him with Allen Robinson from the Bears on a big 3-year contract, and my God, has that been a disaster. He's not only playing at a poor level, but now he's on IR for the rest of the season. Their offense in general has not been the same. Their passing game is limited with Matt Stafford. He looks well below average. The loss of Cooper Kupp and poor play from Allen Robinson has not helped the situation at all. And the Rams have virtually no running game to help support whoever is in there at quarterback with Stafford's injury. So overall, the Los Angeles Rams are maybe the worst returning Super Bowl champion in NFL history. This team made massive trades for star players and dished out huge sums of money, leaving little room for error with both roster construction and injuries. With injuries to multiple starting offensive linemen, creating the worst offensive line in the NFL, lingering injuries to Matt Stafford, leaving him extremely limited, and key starters like Robert Woods, Von Miller, Andrew Whitworth, and Odell Beckham Jr. leaving the team in the offseason, this team clearly is not the same. The bottom line is the Rams' all-in mentality has caused this disaster of a season. They went all in and heaped the rewards of a Super Bowl championship, but this team is set back multiple seasons with their injuries and their extremely difficult cap situation. So how is this team going to fare the rest of the season? We don't know Matt Stafford's injury quite yet. We don't know when he's going to be back, but Sean McVay has also said that he is tied to the core of these players with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford. So if he's tied to these core players and if the team is unsuccessful, I could really envision a scenario where Sean McVay either leaves this year or next year, or if they just honestly blow the entire team up. But this team, when healthy, certainly has talent. They're just not the same that they were last year. And I think moving into the future, if this team is going to hang on to Sean McVay, they're going to have to retain those star players and try to build around them. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you want, you can follow my socials, which I'll link down below. And I'd love to hear your opinion. And I will see you all in the next video.